Good morning to you. It is a Friday. It's going to be a free-for-all Friday today, I think, meaning that we're going to probably be all over the place. Got all kinds of things going on today. We're going to jump in and talk about the tropics this morning, of course, because anytime somebody mentions it, we all just kind of, lose our minds a little bit, which is understandable after what we've gone through with all the different storms over the course of the last 10 years and the number of people who have lost their way. Apologize for the camera problem there. Just hang on. I have a backup and I will get it going. I see what's happening here on this particular camera at the moment. We're having some issues. So, that's a stern look I have too while I'm talking to you. Let me see if I can get this one working. We'll just switch over. There we go. We'll just switch to that camera. Everything should be copacetic, right? You can see me. I can see you. The camera's drifting a little bit. Okay, we'll work on this one in the meantime, see if we can get it fixed and working properly and let it drift down a little bit. And there we go. A glamour shot. Yes, Shane, as Shane said, it was a glamour shot. You're right, Shane. That was very glamorous, wasn't it? It's a good thing, though, that I've got two cameras. That's a beautiful thing. So I can go between one and the other if need be. It is a Friday. It kind of puts a little pep in your step, or at least it does for me. Makes me feel a little bit better about the idea that, hey, we're going into the weekend. Right. Also, this morning, as I said, everybody's kind of shifted their attention from anything else that's happening to what is happening in the tropics. So I want to jump straight in this morning and show you that you can always go right here. This is KFDM.com. All the latest information is going to be posted there. It just will. I mean, when something new pops up, new coordinates come along, whatever it might be, there it will be. And it won't just be a mention. As you can see, Dana and all the rest of the meteorologists do in-depth discussions on our website. They also do it on the Facebook page. And in fact, you're already there. I would encourage you to look at that closely, the Facebook page, because that's probably most likely where you're going to find most of the discussion, I think, from what I can tell. That's where you're going to find the biggest part of the discussion. And it's updated what seems to be almost continually on the page. So we'll start today and we'll be doing it right on through the weekend. Why is it that it always seems like storms happen over the weekend? Then you wake up on Monday and it's like, what? It's where? But you know what? Dana and I were talking about this earlier this morning. Do not get to that point where you're filled with anxiety. This is not the time to do that. Not the time to freak out, panic, suddenly think, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? Where am I going to go? It's way too early for that. I mean, anybody who has any kind of experience living in this area through any of these storms knows until it is clearly in the Gulf of Mexico, there is no way that you know where it's going, right? And the key is just be prepared. Know, watch, stay in tune, pay attention to. But at this point, it hasn't even crossed. Let's go back to the map so you can see this again. It has not even crossed over a huge landmass there that it has to go across in Mexico. Now, once it gets across that and it starts moving into the Gulf of Mexico, I'm going to go ahead and click on it, make it a little bit larger for you. Once we get past, here you are, you're talking about, here we are today, Friday morning. It's a long way off. And then Saturday afternoon, Sunday evening, and then Monday morning. So that's why it's going to be one of those things you have to watch through the weekend. I will also tell you this, and having discussions with the meteorologist, if you saw the spaghetti models early, it was everywhere. I mean, it was going into Mexico. and then it was curving back up into Louisiana. So this is not a definite. I know it makes you very nervous. It makes everybody nervous when you see a graphic and the line comes right through between the B and the of Beaumont. Yeah, B and the A, B and the E, wherever, in between those. And that's what it looks like. It's like, oh, it's inevitable. It's going to happen. But at this point, I think it's fair to say it's not inevitable. It's not a certainty at this point. So again, facts, like everything else, armed with information, then you start to make those decisions instead of making them based out of anxiety. And I know, it's like, 2 storms? Yeah, there are 2 storms out there. But we're going to, I think, probably find out that this is going to be our focus. They're calling it Tropical Depression 14, but soon enough it will have a name. I think it would be Kyle, if I remember right. Kyle. So that is the number one story of the day. And of course, it's something that everybody's talking about. Understandably so. Where we live, this is just, part and parcel. I mean, it's just a part of our lives. I was thinking about this the other day. For those of us who have been around for a while, back in the early to late 70s and 80s, it seems to me like a storm that was at this position was kind of like, meh. And then you start having hurricanes because there was a long period of time there that in between hurricanes in southeast Texas. And then, of course, we've had a spree here over the last 5 or 6 years. And that's not true. Most of them that created most of the havoc for us lately have not been hurricanes at all. They've been tropical storms. But nonetheless, when you have flooding in your home, you don't care what it's called. It's still problematic. All right. Remember, you can jump in this morning if you want to say hi. And I'm going to apologize for the little bounce in the camera because I had to change cameras there real quick. I'm glad I had a camera to change to, but we're gonna probably have a little bit of movement today. Sarah, thanks. Been busy, but she said a reminder. Well, I'm glad you're here this morning. Hi, Esther. Good morning to you. Hi, James. Also, Catherine. You get an A+. You were here early this morning, weren't you? There's Amber with us this morning. Brian asking, why has Scripps cut you guys from the dish? I didn't know they had. If they had, Byron, it's one of those things where it's all about contracts and driven by negotiations by both companies. So I would wager to say if we're not there now, we'll be back in a very short notice. Hi, Darla. Good morning to you. Glad you're up with us this morning. Anne's up with us this morning. And yes, it is a happy Friday. Susan Guidry, good morning. Catherine, good morning to you. From Colorado, formerly from Groves. Well, I hope you're enjoying your time in Colorado. I got to imagine the weather would be a little bit cooler in Colorado. I guess you don't have to worry about hurricanes in Colorado, but I have a friend, Carla, that Catherine, that retired, moved to Colorado, loves it, calls it Whoville, says it's just like it's not a real place. But all of a sudden now they're dealing with fires and things have changed. You think, I always say every geographic location has some kind of cross to bear, natural disaster, whether it's tornadoes in the middle of the country, fires out in the western parts of the country, earthquakes, snowstorms. Everybody's got something they have to deal with. Ours are hurricanes for the most part and tropical weather. But I hope you enjoy the weather in Colorado, but pay attention to what's going on. Hi, Tammy. Good morning to you. Yes, you will be getting updates. You will be getting constant updates. There will be updates on air, also online. I guarantee you every broadcast will. Laura, good morning. Hope things are good in Austin with you this morning. Also, Carlene, good morning, Dan. Hurricane making its way here is not a good one, so morning. Well, and again, do not jump, Carlene, to the conclusion that it's inevitable because there are a lot of things that can happen before it actually makes landfall. So let's just kind of keep that in sight as we go through our day and through the weekend as well. And again, thanks for weighing in this morning, everybody. A lot more folks jumping on and talking about what's happening as well. Well, okay, still to come this morning, we'll look at the rest of the headlines beyond tropical weather. We will also be talking about flu shots because they're being given. I'm a little bit confused by that because I was talking with a local physician yesterday, and he was telling me it's early. You're talking about September, before you really need to take a flu shot. And do flu shots run out? And then we will also talk a little bit about one of the all-time favorite casseroles ever. And one of a really interesting recipe. I'll share it with you. That's all coming up on this Friday edition of The Update. Once again, rolling into it's the 21st day of August. Does that strike you like, wow, what happened to the month? It's like that we've thrown through August, as far as I can tell anyway, this morning. I hope it's gone well for you. I know it's all got to be put in perspective from the pandemic that we're in the middle of, but still, it is going quickly, and we hope it went well for you. Let's jump into the headlines this morning. As we mentioned, top story, it's got to be tracking the tropical depression, and it will continue to be a top story. Also, one of the stories we're following this morning is out of Newton County, where an armed standoff, at least at last report, I'm going to assume that it's still going on, was an interesting story. Apparently, from what I'm being told, the person who is in the home is also posting on Facebook. And I'm not going to go into details on that. I'm not going to report what he said. But apparently, according to Sheriff Billy Rawls, I'm sorry, it's now ended. I'm just reading the story myself. Nearly 6 a.m. this morning, both men surrendered. One man arrested, second man taken to the hospital, treated for gunshot wounds. The wounds were non-life threatening. So there's an update on that story. I'm glad I read the story because, like I said, at last I saw it was still an ongoing situation. So, all right, there's the update to that story this morning. Also, interesting that charter schools, people looking for an alternative, they're going, well, I don't think I want to, take my kid to, public school and put them in a classroom, or maybe they're saying it's too hard to do online learning at this particular. So they're looking for alternatives. Suddenly, charter schools have gotten very popular. The other thing that's happened, homeschooling. A lot of people are looking to buy curriculums. Well, if I'm going to have to do it online, might as well do it with the kids. I'll do it my way, and I don't know. It's certainly an option. Also, co-ops are out there. You're going to have to, I think, that it will take some time to be able to make all the adjustments for online learning. It's not something that you push a button and everything works. They're having to make a lot of tweaks here and there in almost every district that we've talked to. They've said, yes, we're doing it. Yes, but this is not to say we're not going to see some changes as we go down the road. I think we told you yesterday the owner of Parkdale Mall in Beaumont plans to file for bankruptcy protection. A developing story this morning, one that I think a lot of people had a great deal of interest in. An attorney representing the parents of a 20-year-old woman killed in a collision filing a lawsuit, a civil lawsuit in her death. Zona Jones representing the parents of Jillian Blanchard. She died when another vehicle collided with her car June 13th in Bridge City. Jones suing Dillon's Bar and Grill in Port Arthur, and the man, he says, is responsible for the fatal collision with Blanchard. The lawsuit alleges the man was continually served alcohol at the restaurant while he was obviously intoxicated, and that he left the premises highly impaired. It alleges he drove from the premises to Ferry Road, where he ran over someone on a bicycle, Robert Jackson, riding a bicycle, and killed him. And then the lawsuit claims the man left the scene of that accident and 10 minutes later hit Blanchard's car, killing her. They're seeking more than $1 million in damages. So that's a story, again, you may or may not have seen. Also this morning, we're watching with interest the situation at the Beaumont Federal Prison, where they apparently have had a number of inmates there come down positive with COVID-19. And the families are suggesting, and you can go and read the story for yourself, but they're suggesting that prison officials want everybody inside to get the virus, with the idea being, well, once everybody's got it. Now, this is in the words of inmates' families. This is the accusation they're making, is that they want the administrators want everybody to get it so it's not a problem. Everybody's already had it. Not sure it necessarily works that way. And again, that's simply an allegation from the family, but you're welcome to go and read the entire story. So that's a catch up on some of the local stories that we're following for you this morning. Want to see some of the other headlines that I picked out today just to kind of talk about? First of all, let's talk numbers. We always like to show you those. And again, do what you will with the numbers. You can say, those are bogus, those aren't real, those aren't accurate. I think it would probably depend on which numbers you're looking at. I think this is probably, when you're talking about hospitalizations, that's a number that's being reported. 5,635. The good news is hospitalizations continue to drop. That's 1,244 less people in the hospital than a week ago. But at the same time, we've had more than 200 deaths yesterday, 234 being reported. We had 2 in Beaumont. We had another one in Port Arthur. So they're continuing to be reported here in Southeast Texas and across the state. This is I think it's averaging 200 a day? But the good news, again, hospitalizations below 6,000. This is the first time since, I think, June that we've seen hospitalizations less than 6,000. Concern among many public health officials is, now that schools are starting up, Labor Day is just around the corner, that will we see another rise in numbers? And the question also begs to be asked, how will you know from testing? Because even though we're showing numbers, go in and read the stories. Oh, this agency now has to report to that agency. That agency now has to and of course, we've also noted a dip in the number of tests being given when you have a 7-day waiting period. Many people apparently are discouraged by the idea. All right, also this morning, wanted to bring to your attention one of the hardest segments hit has to be the service industry and travel industry, right? We're hearing stories every day of more layoffs in the airlines, more problems for hotel chains, and of course, when it comes down to a local level, bar owners. And this is the Texas Tribune headline: with no end to the shutdown in sight, Texas bar owners and employees on the brink of losing everything. This is a nightclub owner in Austin, but they've been without for so long. I'm not sure, how do you even sustain yourself at all? Had to let all their workers go. And unlike restaurants, now there are ways that your bar can become classified as a restaurant, but they're not easy. And if you don't have a kitchen, if you're really and truly a bar and you're not serving any kind of foods, it's hard to make that transition to where you can be open. Also this morning, flu shots. You're being encouraged to get your flu shot as we head into the flu season. This is USA Today. When should I get my flu shot this year? A lot of people are saying, well, it's already available. I'm going to go ahead and get it now. I'm ahead of the curve. I don't have to worry about anything. That's not necessarily true. There is an ongoing debate this morning about whether getting a flu shot on August the 20th, 21st, 22nd is really a wise thing to do, even though you say, hey, but I'm way ahead if I do that, And there are suggestions that, the problem being that if you get the flu, it mimics COVID, so you won't know the symptoms one from the other. But from the physicians I've talked to, they're saying it's a little bit early yet, that maybe you want to make, 4 weeks or so, 3 to 4 weeks before, because that vaccination is only good for so long. So are you going to get into December and have to go get another flu shot? May not be a problem for some people, but if it is for you, then you might. The other things, you want to consider when it comes to vaccinations, depending on your age, of course, would be pneumonia, which would be one that a lot of people probably do or don't, depending on your physician. And that one is available, and it's available and it's good. It's not a time sensitive issue, I guess, is what I'm trying to say about that one. All right, and let me jump back into the comments. I was going to read another story, but that's pretty much run through most of the stuff today that we were going to talk about. Johnny Trahan, good morning, Dan. Thank you for keeping us updated and informed. My pleasure, for sure. Jeannie Foster, you have a good weekend as well. Hi, Eleanor. Good to see you this morning. Anthony, thank you for stopping by. Tabitha Marks with us this morning. Susan Gidry, more than happy to be here with you. Kathy Scott, good morning from Sunrise. Well, good morning to you as well. A happy birthday being sent out. It's Dad's birthday. Happy birthday, John. Happy birthday to you. I'm glad that you're going to be able to enjoy it, hopefully, with your kids. Cindy, good morning to you. And as we said, update on that story. We now know that in Newton County, that standoff is over. Jody Sullivan, good to see you this morning. Hope things are well in High Island. You guys got a light show the last couple of days. I get up and going to work early, and it's dark, and I'm looking off to the south when I'm driving in, and it's just a constant flash of lightning going on. Tom, good morning to you this morning up in Illinois. Hope everything is well with you. And Carlene says, I thought I heard the shots are not as effective if taken early. I think they're effective for a period of time, but the problem, Carlene, taking them early is they don't last forever. Linda says, come on, Dan, tell us about the weather out there. Well, Linda, if you're just joining us this morning, we spent the first 5 or 10 minutes talking about what's going on in the tropics. But again, the reminder that if you really want to know what's going on, the best thing you can do is head on over to kfdm.com, and you'll see right there at the top of the page, it says tracking a tropical system. You go in and it'll lay it all out for you, and they'll be updating that throughout the day into the weekend. So it's going to be important that you pay attention to what's going on this weekend as well. Dorothy Thompson this morning asking a question from Orange, but traveling in Michigan. Glad we have you to let us know what's going on in our area, especially the storms. Yeah, Dorothy, you're going to want to pay attention. You may want to just stay in Michigan, and not come home and not have to worry about it. I was thinking, I'm always trying to think ahead, for my family. I'm thinking, okay, where can they go? They'll, I guess, would go see my parents and get them out of the way. Drew, morning, Dan. I hope you have a wonderful day today. Hope the Love, Faith, and Recovery team are getting ready to deploy. Well, you guys go out there, and I know you're working hard in our area, and we do appreciate all the things that you do. Susan Gidry, good morning. Vicki McCarver. I love it when I see you guys talking to each other, and again, it's that idea that we've created yet another community in which we can exchange greetings and good morning to each other. Chason, good morning to you as well. Carolyn says, good morning from Fort Worth, Texas. One of my favorite places in the state. Love going to Fort Worth. A lot of good places to go see, do. And I did see where TCU is back in all colleges. Don't you wonder how long will they be there, unfortunately, because we've seen so many shut down. All right, that we pretty much done our due today. We've got you caught up on a lot of things. I want to always end, as I said, with a light note, especially on a Friday. Send you out feeling good about what's going on. So let me take you to this story. I think it's kind of a cool one from the Houston Chronicle this morning. And I don't know, we were big fans of Six Flags when the kids were little. We loved to go there. But there's a guy named Travis Scott who's saying he wants to bring Astro World back. And he is a Houston-based rapper. So that would be interesting to see that happen. But he also does these music festivals there, and they call them Astro World as well. And he's kind of paying homage, of course, to the real Astro World. And then one last stop for you, Texas Monthly. I'm just going to put this out there. The week is here. You may be looking for something. You know, I'm tired of the same old, same old. We had this King Ranch casserole. My grandkids come to my house and spend the night on a regular basis. So there are 11 people when they're here. And bless my wife's heart, she has to fix something that feeds us all. So she's like, I'm fixing King Ranch casserole. And she has a number of different recipes for King Ranch. But let me tell you, she did this one. It's a good recipe. It's something that I think most families would enjoy. And if you're not familiar with King Ranch, it's a Texas classic. But this one it's great flavor. It's really, really worth the time and the investment. So you might want to go check it out again at Texas Monthly, their King Ranch. And it's kind of cool too, because it kind of has a little bit of history about where did the King Ranch casserole come from? Good question. You would think the King Ranch, but I don't think that's necessarily true. Go find out for yourself, right, at Texas Monthly. As we always say, we're just laying it out there. You've got to go and do for yourself, because that's, the only way that you're going to be comfortable, I would think. All right, so let's remind you of a couple of things real quick this morning. There are lots of ways that you can keep up, especially going into the weekend. You can always go to kfdm.com. You can also check out the weekend broadcast tonight at 6 and 10. You know that the man with the most experience in Southeast Texas when it comes to tracking storms, Greg Boswick, will get you the best forecast that he possibly can. This is a guy who's got more than 40 years experience tracking storms, and not tracking them from Colorado, but living through it with us. I have been with this guy, Greg Boswick, in some interesting situations in storms. I've been at the top of the Edison Plaza building, watched a hurricane come in. We've sat together in studios and heard them come through. The guy knows his stuff. So again, all of our meteorologists, it's fair to say, Chad Sandwell, who'll be there over the weekend, Dana Malonzo, who'll be with us on Monday morning, will do their best to keep it as level as possible and to give you the information you need to make the decisions, right? So again, tonight, 6 and 10, then through the weekend, and then bright and early Monday morning, which will really be the most crucial time for us to know exactly what's happening. Also, Facebook page, KFDM News. You can follow me on Twitter, Morning TV Dan, and you can subscribe to the YouTube channel. It's Dan's at Home, and all of these are posted in live there as well. Do me one final favor this morning, if you will. Just reach up and give us a like or a follow, and that way we actually have some way of knowing that people are watching, and that you do appreciate the live stream. I do appreciate your time this morning. I hope that you'll have a terrific weekend, and I'll look forward to seeing you back here bright and early again with all the latest information from the tropics on Monday morning.